Hello, WordNerds. Happy Sunday, happy 2020, and welcome back to our weekly live chat. This week we are kicking things off with a 2020 just shenanigans party to start the new year right. And to really get things going, we are going to do something a little bit new for our opening question, and we are all going to be making predictions about someone else's life. So I will go first, and then we're kind of going in a circle. So I've already said mine, and mine's a little easier. I'm guessing it's going to get a little wilder from here, but I'm thinking this is the year Megan sells a book.
Yeah. Gotta get an agent again first.
You can do both in 1 year.
I called it.
Yeah, that's spoken. Speaking of having spoken, so now it has to happen. I'm making a prediction for Emma that she's going to actually, email me her book. I want it.
How did I know that's what it was going to be?
I like it.
Not being patient for Emma's books anymore. 2K20.
I'm getting really ambitious for Helen. She's going to self-publish another book, and she's going to be #1 on an Amazon list.
Oh, snap.
Putting it out to the universe.
Yes.
Thank you,
great.
Emma.
You have a lot to live up to, Helen.
I do, apparently.
It's going to happen.
Oh boy. I have a bit of a silly one for Rachel, which is that I predict that she and I are going to end up reading the same book again during this semester.
Yes.
In case anybody doesn't know from last year, we both ended up reading and writing an essay on Frankenstein at the same time, and it was one of those like, you too, me too, what?
It's going to happen again.
Most likely. I'm predicting for Desiree, who will be here tonight, but I'm not sure where she is at the moment. But I predict for her that she will have a different color hair within the next 2.5 months.
Probably.
That sounds pretty accurate. Okay, so I'm going to predict for Kelly that she's going to have a brilliant idea for a book series in the coming year in 2020. One of those like all-consuming, can't think of anything else, have to drop everything and write it immediately.
I would like that so much.
Idea. That's my prediction for you.
Yes. Also, probably going to predict like 2 book deals for Erin this year. I'm bookends, like start of the year sell one and then end of the year sell one.
I hope so.
Also hitting the New York Times bestseller list with Witches of Bashan.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Speak that out loud.
Very ambitious for Erin.
I just watched a video today of someone's most anticipated books, and they got to March, and the only book they said was Witches of Ash and Ruin, and then they moved on to April.
That's insane, because there's a lot of good stuff coming out in March.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of videos.
Literally, March 3rd, the day that Witches of Ash and Ruin comes out, like, added so many books. I was like, why did these all come out the same day?
I know. Isn't one a Sarah J. Maas book too?
Yep.
On the 3rd? I know. I was like, cool.
Blood or whatever it's called, her adult book, yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Cool.
I know Witches of Asher is in a lot of lists, like all the lists on Twitter of like Tor's most anticipated books of the year and like new upcoming LGBT books to look out for, and it's like on all of them.
I keep obsessively I get like notifications for like YA fantasy, and every time it comes in my inbox, I'm like,
I had to start like tweeting other stuff because I was afraid people were gonna think I was a bot, just like searching witches. Like, so you heard of it?
An account.
Latimer chick has so many sock puppets.
We're all just becoming WAR stan accounts.
That's an easy prediction for 2020.
Oh yeah, I can predict that, no problem.
March 3rd hits.
Oh my gosh.
Probably a pretty good segue into anticipated reads of 2020, other than the obvious #1 list on all the lists.
Oh no, now I have to think about it.
I know, I have nothing.
Pull up my Goodreads.
I have one right away. I am so excited for the Winter Duke.
Yes, we were just talking
oh
about
yes. I have to look up the name.
I think it's already out actually.
What?
I think it was out March 3rd. Same as Erin's.
Well, maybe was I looking at a different one that had the exact same? I was looking at it. It was like, oh, like 2017 or something, and I was like, oh, that's out already.
March 3rd, 2020. The Winter Duke by Claire Eliza Bartlett.
Because she has another one that's at least I think she does, or maybe it's someone with a very similar cover. That's also like a fairy Goblin King kind of book.
Yeah.
The Winter Duke isn't fairy and goblin.
Yeah,
King.
this one is about like
okay.
a girl, the princess or something, whose brother dies and she inherits his like warrior princess.
Her whole family goes into like a fairy tale sleep, and she inherits the entire kingdom, even though she was never supposed to.
Wow.
I
don't even know what else happens. I'm just like, she's inherited his warrior bride, and I'm like, my brain just stopped at that. I'm like, yes.
It's like her brother is just be the next duke, I think, and she inherits everything, including his bride. Yeah.
Okay.
Warrior bride, and I'm like, yes. Are they going to be like enemies to like tension to lovers? And I'm like, give this to me now.
I think there's one coming out in January or February that's Scavenge the Stars.
Yes.
I'm
By Tara Sim.
Oh,
yes. I'm looking
yeah.
forward to that one a lot.
Oh, Cemetery Boys.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
It's Aiden's last name.
Thomas?
I think it's Thomas.
Oh my God.
Also, there's
so
the
cute too.
sequel to Darius the Great is Not Okay. Darius the Great Deserves Better by Deeb Karam is coming out this year, and I'm very excited because I loved the first book. And like I didn't expect a sequel. So
I just finished reading an advanced copy of it, so I'm like, but I really need to plug this. Is that The Gravity of Us by Phil Stamper? It comes out in February. It's the cutest book, and it's so well written, and it's about a bunch of the kids of astronauts in NASA that are going to be like a new space adventure is going to happen, and all the kids of the families are like all forced to come and live where the NASA headquarters are. And it's like the main character is a kid who has a big social media following, and he like gets involved in the behind the scenes drama of the news and surrounding this new NASA trip, and it's like so really family, and it's like really cute, and love interest with depression, and it's a great story. I give it 5 out of 5. So like it's real good.
Mine are pretty much all going to be LGBTQ because those are the lists I'm following, but there's also Queen of Coin and Whispers I keep hearing about.
What is that? That's a cool title.
Let's see. It is by
Goodreads right now.
Helen Corcoran, and it is out. When are you out? Don't you say? April 6th, 2020. This one is supposed to be so good. It has so many like really great advanced reviews.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about this.
Interesting.
One that I'm excited about, I read last month, My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing, which is an adult thriller about a couple who murders people for fun.
Oh, sure.
And it was her debut novel, and I fell in love with it. Like, I think I read this massive thriller in like 2 days, and she has a new book coming out next year called He Started It. So I need to read it now because I need to know if she's going to be a new favorite author.
I just remembered what my most anticipated book is. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by
yes!
in October. I'm so excited.
Hi, Desiree.
Hi.
You're rocking a dark lip.
And the short hair.
Yeah. I really like just messaged you and was like, Desiree.
We're talking about favorite books or books we are anticipating. Yeah, to go into 2020.
Oh, my most anticipated book is The Witches of Ash and Ruin. I'm super excited. Besides that, I don't really know. I am like so behind on like what people are reading. So I don't know. Probably whatever Rachel reads. She usually has good suggestions.
It's also a good guess because Rachel reads almost every book. So you're like, something Rachel reads will be my most anticipated book, I'm sure.
Thanks. Hey, last year on Goodreads, I finally started using it thanks to Kelly, and I read 98 books last year. So
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, and the only reason I didn't make it to 100 is because I'm still reading Pryor of the Orange Tree by Samantha
just
Shannon.
started that.
Like this thick, and like at least counts for 3 books by itself.
I waited until January 1st to start that one because I knew it would keep me from hitting, because I was about to hit 100 and I was like, I'm saving that for January. So I read like the first Steel Prince graphic novel and Amanda Lovelace's newest poetry book, because I was like, those will be quick. This will be 2 more books I can get in and hit 100.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
You made it to 100. I was like, oh man.
We've got some great book suggestions in the discussion section. Faith said, I'm excited for Marissa Meyer's adult contemporary release this year. Leah said, Woven in Moonlight, which is by Isabella Ibanez, if I'm remembering correctly.
I think that's right.
And All the Stars and Teeth, which I believe is by
Adeline Grace.
Andrew Walker said Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. Jody said Well Played by Jen DeLuca.
So I just remembered one. Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm very excited.
I was just gonna swear, but I was like, I probably shouldn't. Oh, I'm so excited.
Let us know if
September,
there's anything that you are definitely anticipating this year in the discussion section.
Oh, and Marie Rutkowski has a new book coming out this year, which I'm excited because she hasn't had anything since the Winter's Trilogy.
Right?
The Midnight Lie.
Yeah.
Right.
Also comes out March 3rd.
I've heard really good things from people that I know that have advanced copies. So it was really good. So it's cool. It's like kind of witchy.
Yes. And I know it's a queer romance too.
Okay, there's also another really, really good one that, well, I don't know if it's good yet, but it looks really good. The Scapegracers by Hannah Abigail Clark, which is about a lesbian witch in high school that gets like sucked into like a weird popular girl, mean girl coven, apparently. That sounds really cool too.
Love it. Give me all the witchy books.
So
many
many
my
witchy
Goodreads.
Oh, there's Year of the Witching, I think, is another one.
Ooh.
What's it called?
Year of the Witching.
That sounds good. There's also The Dark Tide by Alicia Jasinska, which sounds very close to Megan's name.
I saw that the other day and I was like, wow, that's who Megan's going to be shelved next to in the bookstore.
But her cover is really cool looking.
It's
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
We're talking about our most anticipated reads of 2020.
I'm so behind. I actually don't have an answer to that question. I don't know.
Same. Yay, I'm not the only one.
I don't know. Like, I'm slowly starting to get back into like the whole writing, reading, trying to pick out like what the best thing to read. I really want to go back through and reread Daughter of Smoke and Bone and continue on with that trilogy, because I have like a horrible memory, and I remember loving the first book, and I have the trilogy, and I haven't actually read past the first book, so I think that's high up there.
Yeah, I went through this week, and there's one blog, I think it's Booksbirds, I think is the name of it, and she like keeps track of all of the YA books coming out for the year, like by month. And so you can go through and see like all the books coming out in January and all the books coming out in February. So I was like going through the first half of the year, just like adding books. And so I added way too many. Yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about?
I think it's Booksbirds. I think that's the name of the blog. She like
that's
keeps the list of like all the books coming out in 2020. I'll grab the link.
Awesome.
Like every single book.
Yeah,
I can't even
literally
imagine how much
by month
that is.
Oh my god.
I'm putting the link in the chat.
I'm going to the library tomorrow, so I'm like, let me read these down, put them in my Goodreads real quick.
Yeah,
I definitely want to read more
Goodreads,
physical copy books this year. Because I'm usually an ebook person. Like the Overdrive app on my phone and like my tablet is usually like the first place I stop. But I think, especially like having kids and wanting them to see me read instead of like looking at my phone or looking at a screen, I want them to actually see me like holding a book. So I think that's one of my resolutions this year, is to more physical copies.
It's a good idea.
I guess that's a pretty good segue into other writerly bookish resolutions. Does anyone have any goals they want to share with the class? Now you have to.
I can go first. I think this year, I think it's important for me personally to set goals that are realistic. So I'm very much that new year, new me type. I'm like really giddy on like making this year like completely kicking ass and making all these things that I want to do, but I always have like very specific limits set to things. So this year, instead of saying like, oh, I'm going to write this many words in this amount of time, I'm just trying to write every day, which is like my normal go-to thing. But this year it's like I really need to like get in the mode of writing something new every day. Rather, I don't even care if it's a sentence. I just want to be able to like stay on top of like my world building and like what part of the story am I in, and not have those stagnated days. Because if I get stacked up on days that I don't write anything and I don't think about like the actual scene that I'm in, I lose everything. And I have to, when I do eventually get back into writing, I have to reread like 4 chapters ahead of where I left off to kind of get that mojo flowing again. So definitely writing every day, and obviously reading more too is always up there.
I really love the idea of having goals that are more attainable and small this year, because I'm very much the same as Kaylin. I have that like, yay, new year, new me, let's go, go, go. And then I only last like maybe a month. Like I am the typical stereotypical person that's like woohoo and then fall flat on my face.
New year, new me.
For like 3 weeks. That's it. Yeah, so I've been reading a really great book called Atomic Habits, which is just like building up the really small little things in your day-to-day life to make it up, to work towards a bigger habit. And one thing I did actually 2 weeks before New Year's was deleting Twitter off my phone. And I can already tell how vastly that's helping not just my writing, but like my state of mind, actually, because Twitter has not been good for my state of mind.
Yeah, in a way, I'm trying to do more social media, like more interacting with people. But I think just like maybe for January, because like every time I go and see Australia stuff, I just like bum out hard. So maybe just for a little while.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, I didn't even know, like my friend messaged me freaking out about World War III, and I'm like, oh, I deleted Twitter off my phone and I don't look at the news, so I have no idea what's going on. I don't know if that's good, but I do know I'm way less anxious than I was like 2 weeks ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
You need a balance, but at the same time, doing what I was doing before and getting all my news from Twitter was not healthy either. So
Apparently I need to finish a book and self-publish it this year. So, there we go.
Speaking of small attainable goals, although that is within your power, technically, it's not like I'm going to be a millionaire.
Really grind it.
Yeah. It's not like unattainable goals where you're like, I'm going to get traditionally published and hit the New York Times best-selling list. Well, you have no control over that. So,
So that shouldn't be my goal.
I mean, by all means,
Stretch goal.
Yeah, that's my reach goal. It's just $1 million book deal. I'll probably do it.
Small goals, small attainable goals.
Yeah, I am. I'm hoping to start querying again by the end of the month. So I'm working on all that, finalizing things, and hopefully I'll still be able to hit it, because I ended the year and started the year with bronchitis. Thought that it would be really nice to, end the year as I meant to begin the next one.
Symbolic.
Like did that. So once I start querying, I'm hoping to just like write something weird and fun and something that could take me all year. Maybe
That
I like
sounds
big
fun.
fantasy.
Yeah, I haven't figured out my like novel writing goals yet. Really, I'm kind of taking it by ear, I guess. But script writing is my big like goal. I just want to learn how to do it. I'm not setting any like major goals or anything, but I want to learn how to do it and drag Erin and Desiree along with me.
Yes.
My goal my writing goal this year is to finish the novel that I'm working on, and get it to a point where I can let the WordNerds read it, because I realize I've been in the WordNerds for like 3 years, and you guys have never read anything I've written. and I need to fix that.
I've known the WordNerds for 6 years and they haven't read anything.
At the very beginning, we all made predictions for everyone, and my prediction was just me nagging Emma about Sunday.
Which is my goal this year.
Yes, I want all the WordNerds books in my inbox.
I don't those work either.
Yeah.
I don't think so. No, I don't have. I have chunks, but I don't have any like a comprehensive document of a novel. So that's
Send us a chunk because then you'll be ahead of Emma. So.
Megan read my fan fiction when we were
I did.
12 years old, so she has read.
I will take that if you want to send that to me.
I mean, quite beautiful.
I know where.
Very angsty.
But if you find hers, it'll be too easy to find mine.
I needed a 2020 goal, so that feels like it should be it. Find all the fanfic. Yeah.
Yes.
All of it.
Detective work. You know you have to forward it to me once you find it, right? I want to read that too.
Oh, yes.
I also have terrible, awful fanfic online somewhere floating out there, so I shouldn't get too cocky about it. Mine was Lord of the Rings fanfic. That was
Nice.
God, when it first came out.
If it makes
Nice.
it feel any better, mine is Naruto fanfic. You want some real cringe fest? It exists.
I've got some Stargate fanfic. It's great.
Excellent. Ooh, I have Star Wars fanfic too, but that never made it to the computer because that was like way back in the Stone Age before I had anything other than dial-up. So, wow.
You guys were talking about fan fiction and I was dying. I was like, oh my God, put me in, please.
Put me in, coach.
But yeah, I have like Glee, Sherlock, and Harry Potter fan fiction floating around out there. My Sherlock fan fiction got like bigger than it should have. No, it wasn't my Sherlock one, it was my Merlin one. Sorry.
Yes. I started talking while I was out of the thing like I was there, but I was saying if you are, so we are only allowed through StreamYard to have 6 people on, which is why we're doing the shuffle or whatever, unfortunately. So if you are in, they have a little waiting area below what we can see in the control center. And if you have something you want to say and you just go like this, we'll switch you.
I do not have any fan fiction, but I have yet to deactivate my Wattpad account, so there's some stuff floating around.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome. I forgot my password, so I don't know how to get in. And it's like, I don't know what email account it's connected to, so I'm like, Kate, well, I guess that just exists now.
Float out there in the ether forever.
Yeah.
Have you guys, so this is like kind of a little bit of a like side tangent, but have you guys heard that of Wattpad Studios?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, when I found that out, I was like, wait, they have a whole studio based on making movies from Wattpad stories?
Yes and no. Like, they've had me pitch them a few things, so they get their writers to actually produce material specifically for them. But yeah, they also do sometimes find like the really popular ones and produce them as movies and stuff. So
that's so interesting.
Yeah,
they have their own publishing imprint now too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. They're expanding like crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Next is the streaming service, I call it.
Yeah, you never know. Everyone's going into streaming, so why not, right? That's interesting.
Too bad there's not like a really cool podcast that's about, like streaming things, Okay, my tangent was done, sorry.
It was a good tangent.
All right, I will use this as an opportunity to switch to other things we are anticipating in 2020, like Desiree's podcast.
Yay! I'm so excited. I have my mic like next to me. I didn't plug it in, but this is my mic.
Ooh, fancy.
That's really nice.
Yeah. I also have like a new ring light too that's not podcast related, but like in the realm of like YouTube-y things. But yeah, my podcast comes out February 5th. Just so you know, that's the launch date.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Tell us more about it.
It's called Bingeology. And basically every episode, me and a guest will talk about a TV show or a movie that is available on a streaming service that is a streaming original. So like Orange is the New Black, Stranger Things, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, things like that. So yeah, I'm excited.
It's going to be amazing.
And now I actually have to watch these things. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to listen to it. I'm not going to understand anybody.
To definitely watch The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
I watched the first 4 episodes, was like, cool, gonna watch more. Never did.
I finished season 2 last night at like 1 a.m.
The perfect
It's
time
so
to finish something like that.
It's so good and so bad. I have so many notes.
I do too. I can't wait till we talk about it.
So excited.
Oh, Erin is on the episode where we talk about The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Heck yes.
Ooh,
And Kelly,
So
and me and Kelly are talking about Orange is the New Black.
very nice.
Ooh, that's
Going to
awesome.
be fun. All right. Other things in 2020. Movies, television shows, other things.
The Good Place is ending.
Yes.
Supernatural is ending, and I'm dying on
What?
the inside.
Really?
It's like ending.
Like it's it.
Wow.
This is the last season. We're in hiatus, and this season finale is going to be the series finale. And I'm
Oh
just
man.
Wow, they have
I
a
can't
lot
take it.
to.
I started rewatching it from the beginning because I am like, I think I have like 3 episodes left in season 14 to get through, and I'm like, you know what? I can't do it. We're on hiatus. I'm not going to watch those. Get caught up in 15 and just like not have anything to watch. So I went all the way back to the beginning. I watched the first season in like maybe a week and a half, and I'm just kind of like plowing through that right now, trying to get prepared. It's the end of an era.
Yeah, really. Wow, they're gonna have a lot to wrap up.
Yep.
A lot to
From what
live
I
up
hear,
to.
like a lot of stuff is coming back. Like this season, it's like it's bringing back all the old characters. So it's like I think restarting from season 1 is probably my best bet because I just don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
So they're just resurrecting everyone now.
Literally everyone. Yes.
What a Vampire Diaries
I
move.
guess they just finally embraced it. Like, yeah, we just are a huge cop out and bring everyone back constantly.
It's
So
like,
let's just
I kind of expected that, like the last season to be just complete fan service, which I'm not totally against as long as they do it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing all the old faces.
I stopped watching for a while because I really was not a fan of like what they had been doing.
Hmm.
It just felt kind of like keeping going for the sake of keeping going. But the last like 2 or 3 seasons, I've gotten back on board and enjoyed it more. As once they started realizing like, oh, we can like resurrect all these lady characters that we killed.
We should probably resurrect a lot of the lady characters that we killed off. Yeah.
I stopped watching after Charlie, and then
Oh my god, that made me so mad.
I know that things were different afterwards, but I just was like, I'm done. Sorry,
Yeah.
no.
I was done. I didn't have the willpower to stop reading, to stop watching it though. But that was like the episode where I was like, okay, they need to make some major changes now because they're gonna lose a lot of fans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they permanently lost at least me because I was like, yeah, no. So you've betrayed me for the last time.
I have just finished watching The Witcher, and so now I've already decided that this year is the year of all The Witcher content for me. Watch the show. I'm reading the book now. Gonna play it probably.
I finished watching The Witcher like probably 2 weeks ago, and I still have that song in my head.
Yes! I wake up humming it. And it's
Forever.
I mean, the song is good, obviously. But
Like I know
I've yet to watch it. I
only-
want to so bad.
I've only watched 1 episode, so my husband was watching it, and he was like, "Well, do you want me to start from the beginning, or are we just?" I'm like, "It is already 8 p.m. You start where you left off. If I like it, I'll start from the beginning." I knew I was gonna like it because everybody was comparing it to Game of Thrones and all that stuff. So I definitely plan on watching it. But what is the sequence of how everything was like come out? Was it a book first, then a video game, then the show? Was the video game first, or how did that whole series
books are
happen?
pretty old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Books
And
and
then the
video games and show.
Well, now I have another looking forward to read this year, even though nothing came out this year, if that counts. But
Yes. And
Have you guys seen on Twitter someone made a video of one fight scene from The Witcher, but they did it to Toxic by Britney Spears?
yes,
It's
like
like
one
so
of
funny.
fight sequences.
Yeah, and then they just start playing Toxic, so like the arrow comes by, it's like, baby, can't you see? Boom. It's so
And they
good.
keep all of the hits of the swords in it, and it like matches up to the song really well. It's great.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
Amazing.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I
was
did
crying the
really
other day
talk
for
about
that
my
video.
channel now.
Yes. If you do want to read the books, the first of the novels is called Blood of Elves. There are 2 books before it, but those are all short stories, and the short stories are what they used to make season 1 of the show. And so Blood of Elves, from what I've read so far, picks up at the end of season 1 of The Witcher.
I heard that they are very different, though. Like, I've heard that the
Mhm.
Geralt from the show is very different from the Geralt from the book.
I've heard that he was really similar to the book, but different.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The
'Cause there was
author,
a meme that I saw, and they were like, it was, and I'm gonna butcher it. You have to read it. It was just something somebody posted on Twitter, and they were like, oh, we have your son, and Geralt was like, well, I don't have a son. They're like, well, who do we just make more warm milk for and cut off the crust of their sandwich? I was like, oh my god, you have Jasker, and it's like, oh, well, book Geralt, would you like keep him? But like movie or show Geralt, it's like, I will die for him or something like that.
Mm.
But I kind of liked how you have
I think
your
that's kind of fandom interpreting their relationship
Yeah.
just a little bit. Um,
No, I'm sorry. Who was like, "Oh, I shipped them," and I was like, "Oh no, now I
yeah, no, like I'm
I
gonna
do
watch it
ship
with
them
completely
really hard,
different eyes
and-
now.
how dare you make me do this?"
yeah, the author of the books, he said that Henry Cavill brings to Geralt what Viggo Mortensen brought to Aragorn.
Wow, high praise.
Really, yeah, that's really high praise. I've a lot of emotions I could vomit about this show because I was in such a fantasy slump, and then at the end of the year, I read the entire 3 Dark Crowns series, and it got me out of my fantasy slump. And so I was starting to pick up other fantasy novels, and then the show dropped, and I was like, well, I have interest on this like a duckling coming out of my fantasy slump.
And I also think a lot of times whenever like something really popular ends and like there's like a new show that's like it's the next whatever, like when Lost ended, like there were so many sci-fi shows that were like this is gonna be the next Lost, and they were all really disappointing. But like this actually like fills the void in my heart from Game of Thrones. That like Game of Thrones like punched into my chest. Stabbed and ripped out.
Yeah.
I heard there was this one
Reddit.
Reddit thread that was Game of Thrones Reddit, and they slowly just decided to change it into a Witcher Reddit.
That's amazing.
And it's like, oh, this is what Game of Thrones could have been if they'd had women on their writing staff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if Game of Thrones just like ruined me because I feel like this time last year I was anticipating so many things for 2019, or it was just a year of big things last year because we had Endgame and Game of Thrones. But now I can't even like think of movies that are coming out.
I know,
I'll never trust again.
Post in-game, it's like, does film exist anymore? It's all over.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of like major series sort of came to like a conclusion last year. Like the last arc of Marvel movies came to an end with Endgame, and then like Star Wars just finished its latest arc and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh, these like major movies that have been coming out for the last few years, like those arcs are complete.
Mhm.
So now they have to get us going for new stuff.
I mean, hey, new decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this should be the
start
year of
the
like
decade.
finding a new thing that I love.
Mhm.
I'm ready to imprint.
Yeah, we had a couple people talking in the discussion section too about Dark, which is awesome. Speaking of things that are often compared to Lost, Dark is definitely often compared to Lost. And that the 3rd and final season, I believe it is coming out this year.
There's a YA book coming out this year that's comped to Lost. I think it's called Cut Off.
I have
Yeah, Cut Off by Adrian Finley.
waiting for something to fill. I to be lost. I want to be, but
Nothing's
not so far.
Yeah.
So many
I've run out of
things to look
questions.
forward to in 2020. It's hard not to word vomit all the things that I'm so excited for.
I found the volume knob I was looking for this whole chat, and it's right here on my little thingy. Now I can actually hear you guys at a decent volume.
There you go. 2020 is off to a great
But
start.
no, like I feel like, yeah, like Helen said, everything kind of like came to like a halt last year, and I feel that on like even a personal life level, like things just kind of sucked last year. So I'm definitely like looking forward to new stuff, like trying to push. I'm definitely like a really bad procrastinator. So like my biggest thing is to not procrastinate. And that's going to start with getting Kelly the clips for this collab video as soon as I can and not wait till the last minute. But also it's like I'm looking forward to kind of like fresh starts of everything, like fresh starts of a bunch of different like shows that are probably going to be coming out, because I mean with Supernatural ending, I'm curious to see what the CW picks up. I know they do a lot of superhero shows that I haven't really gotten into, but I'm definitely looking forward to adding something new to like my geek out and nerdiness.
So
Well,
what
there's
are your best tips for just not procrastinating?
So far, I mean, we're only like what 4 days in, 5, but it's most specifically with text messages. It's not going to be like I'll reply back to that when I can, because I will never reply back to it. Like it's just not going to happen. So as soon as something comes in, it's like I try to reply. We had the last Christmas party of the season yesterday, so finally Christmas is over. Our tree is gone. We're starting to kind of like get routines and kind of like implement routines in the house, which I think is really important. But I mean, if anybody has any tips, I'm all for it, because I procrastinate everything.
So one of the ways I have been procrastinating is watching a bunch of videos on how to not to procrastinate. So I have learned one of like the best tips I've learned is your top 3 of the day. So pick your top 3 goals of the day and focus on those. So even though like it makes you feel like you got more accomplished, and when you finish those 3, you're psychologically more likely to keep going on things you need to do, because you feel like, oh, I've accomplished these things, like let's keep going. So that's like been a really super helpful like tip I've learned.
I like that idea.
Definitely. Like I like bullet journaling. And I got my whole journal set up last year, and it was so great. And I did so good. And like mid-March, I stopped writing in it every day. So now I just have these like blank pages of grids that I had already gridded out and spent all that time in January gridding out, and they're just completely empty now. So I bought a new book, and I'm getting that kind of set up. But this year, instead of doing all 12 months of like the weekly setup, I'm doing it by quarter. So like I'm only letting myself go 3 months. That way I can get done whatever I need to get done in the pages following. And then at that beginning of the next quarter, I'll start adding stuff to it too. I think so much ahead. And I know like Megan yelled at me like a couple weeks ago, we were talking about like writing and how I have all this material. And she was like, dude, just write so we can read it. Just write. But I'm like, there's just so much. And I get way too involved in everything. And it's just taking a step back, seeing things on paper and seeing, okay, this is what I have to do today. So now I'm going to take that into consideration. Okay, what are my top 3 things that I need to get done? And that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely try and be better with my bullet journal this year, because last year I think I used it like 3 months out of the entire year, and it was like a mess because like I'm in school and working full time, and like it was just every week with school. It was just like I hope I remember everything I need to do this week because I haven't written anything down. So I'm like trying to be better because I'm taking more classes this semester, and I'm like I have to keep track of stuff because I'm gonna forget things like. And I don't want to be like, oh, it's the day the things due, and I forgot I needed to do it. So
I'm gearing up to start, assuming the paperwork goes through, to start a full-time job in the next couple weeks. And I've been like really nervous about that because it's also going to be from home. And I already feel like I don't manage my schedule super great because I'll say, oh, Sunday night I'm going to plan, and then I'll plan my whole week. But then like my toddler throws up in his crib or something, and it's like, well, forget it. The whole week is over. I just won't work. So this year I'm trying out the Passion Planner.
I almost got that. I got the Clever Fox Planner instead, though.
Yes, that's the one I used last year, and I loved
it. Oh, nice.
But this year, instead of trying to plan it out even by a week, I've given myself from like 9 to 10 in the morning. It's just planning block. So I can just like start the day and look at like, here's my list of things I need to do this week. What can I fit into today given what has happened this morning? And I'm hoping that way I'll be able to like get in all of the hours of the full-time job plus the part-time job plus the child.
Definitely being fluid, I think, is really important, and it's something that I need to work on a lot better. Because, like you said, it's like if one bad thing happens, like, well, today's over. And especially like one of the things I'm doing this year is I'm eating better, and specifically like low carb. And of course, we have a Christmas dinner last night with a bunch of delicious mashed potatoes and gravy and all the stuff I can't have. And it's like, okay, well, if I divulge in this now, I'm going to eat something bad tomorrow and the next day. And it's just going to spiral because like I'll start next week, whatever. It's not that big deal. But it's like, it is a big deal because there's always going to be next week's and there's always going to be tomorrow's. So it's trying to be a little bit more fluid in the things that I do, I think is really important.
Yeah. One of the things I really love about the Clever Fox planner that you got, Desiree, is it has every week, it has a little habit tracker like you would make in a bullet journal. And this one, the Passion Planner doesn't have it, but I like it so much that I'm planning to just like write it out. So like if you're not in a position to get a planner or you don't like planners that much, I am a really big fan of still doing a habit tracker. So you could write like what things you want to be doing each day. Like if it's you want to read every day, you write it down and then you fill in the box for each day of the week that you do it. And not necessarily to be like hard on yourself for the days that you don't, but I really liked being able to look back at it and be like, oh, on Wednesday, this and this happened and I wasn't able to do all the things. What can I do to mitigate when this and this happens next time? So that I am able to still be productive in the future.
Yeah, I like how Victoria Schwab does her like writing tracker that she does, like with the different stars and all that. So I'm kind of implementing that a little bit into my bullet journal this year. More so like personal things I'm going to get done, but definitely writing related.
When I first started bullet journaling, I started out doing like the monthly habit tracker that like everybody does. I know Victoria Schwab does it. And I like the look of it and everything, but I had the issue kind of like with what Kaylin was talking about, where like if I like missed a habit for like 2 days in a row, I'd be like, well, I'm done for the month. Like there's no point. I've already messed up my habit tracker. So I started doing it weekly instead. On my weekly spread, I just do like a little habit tracker on there. Because then it's like if I mess up for the week and the week is ruined, the next week starts and it's fine again, you know, rather than be like the entire month is ruined. There's no point.
One thing that I used to use this a lot in my like first year of uni, but there's a website that makes habits or like things you want to get done into an RPG. And it's called Habit RPG. And you can put in things that are like daily tasks or weekly tasks or whatever, and then put in your daily tasks. And as you like finish them off, you gain experience and items and stuff for your character. And it's so weirdly fun.
That sounds very fun.
And so like if you're someone who like you like having a thing to check off and getting progress for it, but like seeing it not get checked out every day kind of like bums you out, and you like games, then like that's a fun way to do it, because you just check it off each day, but it doesn't show you, or at least when I played it, I don't know how much it's updated since then. It's not like a chart that you can see like, oh, I stopped filling it in here now, so I don't want to do it anymore because now it's not pretty.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've tried that one as well. It was a lot of fun, but it didn't stick with me for some reason. So I want to like try and make one because it's me, but of like randomizing it a little bit, of like random quests or like things I have to repeat, of like doing the laundry or brushing the dog, of like I don't know what's coming, so just like give me one of my tasks. I have to do one of the things that I have in a queue. I want something like that, of like just surprise me and I will go off on a quest.
Sided dice of things you have to do.
Exactly.
Well, that's kind of a good idea.
You could just use your 20-sided dice and assign each number.
That could totally work.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
But I need an app to tell me that I did good. I need the like the thumbs up after.
Make yourself like a mini campaign, but all of the boss fights and stuff are like you doing your laundry. So you can't like roll your dice and attack and do stuff until you like fold all your underwear.
And if you fail, we'll come and trash your house.
Wow.
Incentives.
Oh, I was thinking like, the new boss is okay. I gotta fold my laundry. Rolls a 2. Well, I guess that's not happening. Or like, I guess I'm gonna fold 1 sock and then like move on.
Why is your house a mess? I just kept rolling 2s and 1s.
Exactly. It's not my fault.
That's amazing.
Yeah, if you roll a natural 20, you're like, oh, I have to do a whole load now. Like,
I have to take it out and fold it right away.
yeah, exactly. Oh god, yeah.
Dang
I'm not
it.
sure if that's winning anything.
I'm taking some of these links that people have been mentioning and putting them in the discussion section as they hand off those links to me. So hopefully you are able to see those there as well. Erin, am I remembering this correctly? Do you do like a writing journal? Do you like
I do, yeah.
How does
Every morning, yeah. I do morning pages. I've like let it slack a little bit over Christmas, but it really helps me figure out like what the heck I'm doing for the day, and like what I want to get accomplished. Because one of the things that like I really struggle with, because I write full time, is like making myself stay off social media. And like as soon as I get on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, then I kind of like get super distracted, or I'm not like determined to get it done. So I'll sit down first thing and be like, this is what I'm feeling. I'm frustrated because of this, or I didn't do as good yesterday, or I ate crap all day yesterday. And then this is what I want to accomplish. And I'll write just like 3 or 4 pages of just like stream of consciousness, and then sort of read it back. And it helps kind of be like, okay, what kind of like mood am I in? What am I frustrated with myself for? What can I do to change that? And while I was doing that, it really helped. Of course, I've slacked off over the holidays and just ate crap and done nothing. So, the morning pages really do help. Definitely highly recommend that, as well as for like sort of like you can only rant to the pen muggles in your life so much before they're like, okay, crazy writer lady, like sit down and stop complaining about your edits. We don't know what you're talking about. So the morning pages are really good for that too, because you can just kind of go off a little bit, be like, this is what's frustrating me about my edits. Here's 3 pages of me complaining about it. And now my husband doesn't have to hear about it. Right. So that's really helpful for that too.
That's cool.
Yeah. Highly recommend.
Let us know in the discussion section what your writing goals are for this year. I know my big one is just query and write 1 more book. And then if you have a plan for reaching those goals that you think might be like useful for other people too, let us know that as well. We definitely want to know how writing is going for all of you and what your hopes are for the new year.
I haven't written since last year. I didn't even set myself up for failure thinking that I was going to try to write every day. Like, I would love to be able to do that, but that is just not realistic. So I want to start writing more after my podcast launches. So that's what I'm trying to say to myself, because like my entire brain space is just kind of taken up right now.
Which is fine. That's still creative. Also, you saying I haven't written since last year sounds so much worse. It's been like 5 days.
I haven't written all decade.
Okay. But I think it's fine to put your brain space in other creative projects, right? Like, I don't think that hurts your writing. I think it's going to help it in the long run. Especially talking about stuff like story, right? Like on your podcast, you're going to be discussing like plot and structure and storytelling and
and characters and things like that.
Totally.
Like it's what is it? Refilling your creative well.
Yes, Ellie has a book called Refilling Your
Yeah. I like to watch TV for my job now because I'm calling podcasting my second job. So, but like, I'm working, watching Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
You are. Hard at work.
Yeah, I should not be in charge of like switching people in and out when I'm hosting. So I always want to like be polite and take myself out, but also supposed to lead the conversation. So anyways, we're about at the hour point. So any final thoughts going into 2020? And also, do we know what we're planning for the rest of the month?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
I had a final thought, which is so I know we're like already a week into the year, and we've talked a lot about like, yay, new year, new me, or whatever. But like, it's the same you. If you've had that first week, if you've had bronchitis this week, or you haven't written since last year, like, you can start. It's a new week now. Like, you can start your goals now. Definitely don't lose momentum just because we're 5 days in, and you might not be where you want to be. You can definitely do the things.
Yeah, it's like those habit trackers of like, don't throw out the whole year because you missed something for the first few days.
Next week is a write-in.
Yay! There we go. Hopefully we will all have written something by this time next week.
Yeah, next week is a write-in. The week after that is digging deeper into the fantasy genre.
Cool.
Already started preparing.
And then our first video this year is going to be going into our Q1 goals and then some exciting changes in the world of book clubby stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun. Be sure to stay tuned for all of that and come back next week, same time, same place for a write-in. Thank you all so much for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful year and we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.